I'm so excited to introduce you to this one. My newest pattern is a wallaby with a tiny joey. Is it okay to be excited about a thing that you designed and made? It is. It totally is. If you were showing me your thing, yeah, no, that's cool. So a couple of days ago, I sat down on the sofa with two new balls of chenille yarn. I was determined to give it another go. I've had a very love-hate relationship with chenille yarn. It's super soft and beautiful, and it has in the past driven me completely crazy. You can hear all about it there. I then got a lot of responses to that video from people who gave ways to work around the problems with it, which is essentially to do with snagging and creating magic circles. And I made this video where I tried out 4 of the ways that people had suggested that maybe I could make better use of the yarn. So 2 of them worked quite well, and I sat down that evening and I thought, okay, I'm going to have a bit of a go with it and see what I can do. And for this I used the chain 2 method instead of magic circles. I did try and do magic circles a few times with it. It still didn't work for me, even though it's a different brand of yarn, this one. It's James C. Brett Flutterby? Fluttery. It's a James C. Brett yarn. And yes, so I worked with this one. It's one of the ones that had been mentioned before, although not like the top tier of mentioning. It was like second from the top, but it was what the local hobby store had. So I grabbed some of that and I sat down and I made a wallaby. And I sent some photos of the wallaby to a small handful of people, and every single one of them instantly replied with, "Where's the joey?" I don't know how you feel about feedback, but sometimes I must slightly swallow my pride and go, okay, the universe wants a baby in the pouch, and they were so right. So let's have a look, because first things first, with the chain 2 method, some of the magic circles didn't close as completely as I would want them to with the chain 2. I think actually if you're making this and following the pattern, which I'll link the free pattern down below, just go to the Lucy Kate Crochet website and you'll find it there, all the instructions. I would use a smaller hook than for the rest of the pattern. So I think it was made with a 5, so maybe use a 4 just for that tiny starting chain, just to get it a bit tighter, or increase your tension, but sometimes that's a little bit more fiddly to do, isn't it? So I made up this wallaby, and I have given definition to the original toy. Let's just remove her little baby here. I gave definition to the original toy by going around the edge of the ears in the white, and I made the little feet in the white as well. And I've also, though I don't know how well it shows up on camera, aligned the edge of the pouch in white. And I made the baby all in the white chenille yarn. Little tiny baby. And I really wanted it to be that more sort of almost fetal look that these little joeys have. So when they are born, and they're born really early compared to us mammals, they crawl out and into the pouch, and then they finish a lot of that early developmental stage in there. So I really wanted it to look incredibly babyish, but it still needed to obviously have this little ability to poke over the top and in the characteristic manner and have a little look out the pouch. When I first made it, I tried it with some bigger safety eyes that looked more like the mum's safety eyes, and it looked scary. So I went back on that and I used some really tiny little safety eyes for it. So it's just peeking at the world, and I think that looked really nice like that. So I was happy with that one. So there's the tiny joey. The arms and legs are just chains with single crochets back into them. The same for the tail and the ears. and it's just some little rounds with this yarn for the body and the head. So obviously there's a fair amount of sewing together with these guys, but it's not complicated. You just weave in and out of the stitches. If you've got any experience with hand sewing at all, you'll be totally fine, and if you haven't, you can check out my video on sewing crochet toys together, and that will give you a little bit more information on that. So the main thing that was important to me when I decided, yes, okay, definitely needs a Joey, was that it went in and out easily. So the pattern, which I've not written up now while I'm recording this, but should be live when the video's uploaded, I'm going to write in the pattern for you to make this 1 or 2 stitches wider than I have made, because it's just a tiny bit too tight for the Joey here. So I've had to give it a little tiny pull at the edge there for it to slip in, but you should be able to just pop her little baby inside her pouch so it snuggles there. I think it looks the cutest with its ears either side of the chin, so she's kind of holding it nice and secure. It's got arms. Hi! One of the things that I think has helped to give this a bit more of the look of the animal is this trick where you sew the backs of the safety eyes together. So you wrap around a piece of yarn before you put the first safety eye on, and then you wrap the same piece around the other back of the eye before you put the backing on. And what it does is it pulls them in together, and it really does. This is a trick someone mentioned to me underneath one of my earlier videos, and it really works. Absolutely love it. And I think it's given this face much more of a better shape. Now, for some reason, wallabies, arguably one of the most adorable marsupials on the planet, don't get as much press as kangaroos. If you want to make this a kangaroo instead of a wallaby, genuinely the only thing that you'd need to do to the pattern, and I'll write this when I write up the pattern for you as well, is add a couple of rounds here to the muzzle to make that a bit longer, and a couple more here to the back. You might also want to do it in a sort of a tan yarn instead of this grey yarn, which I don't know how that looks to you, but to me on the camera that looks blue. It's not, it's a grey yarn, grey for the body and white for the feet. I've then made a little nose for him as well, just by sewing in and out with that white yarn, and that works so well with the chenille. If you've got a nice wide tapestry needle, because the fibres are so spread out, it works really well for making noses. And actually, if you've got another toy that you've made with like some acrylic DK yarn or merino wool or cotton even, using just a scrap of chenille yarn to give the nose can make it look a bit more sort of prominent, which is quite a nice look there. So the tail, I had tried this tail in about 4 different ways before I set on this one, and anatomically, right, it still slightly irritates me. I feel like it should be higher up the back. However, this actually just looked better on the toy, and what it does is it gives it absolutely tons of stability as well when it's sitting down. And because you're gonna be popping your little Joey in and out of the pouch and things like that, she really does need to have this strong base, wobbly ears, this strong base to her as well. So this is an awesome toy, I think. But also it just looks really cute. And I want to be honest with you guys, because when I started making this, I was making it for my friend's baby. I'm gonna keep it. I'll make the baby something else. I want this. Is that bad? It's not bad. She probably won't watch this video. And if she does and calls me on it, then I'll make her another wallaby with a Joey. Maybe I'll make the kangaroo version. It's so cool when you can make slightly less common animals nice and quickly out of crochet. It makes a lovely ornament or a gift or whatever you want to do with it. Be selfish. Make yourself crochet toys. It doesn't matter if you're nearly 40 or whatever. Toys are cute. They're cute your whole life and they look very decorative. And maybe I should make a shelf here, and that would look quite cool, wouldn't it? Because at the moment you're just staring partially at a blank wall, and that's probably boring for you. I love wallabies. Who wouldn't love wallabies? You can make your own wallaby too. A new pattern. Yay!